Fans over soup with Ryan and Portico and Sully Smith.
The old skeleton style.
Yeah. And it's comfy. It's too small for me. Like it comes up real high.
That's cool. Yeah.
Like the classic skeleton Halloween costume.
It works out. Yeah.
What are y'all getting into tonight? Party?
I think Dakota's actually.
Oh, okay.
Cool. I think he's just trying to keep it
small.
No bullshit, just chilling. But like,
fair enough.
I'm sure they'll.
Well, we have plans.
No, you don't.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's why
you're right.
asking.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Thank you, sir.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, do you want to get a photo of all?
Sure. Oh, all right. This is
Tyler, keep facing the other direction.
Yeah.
just like a drummer. Just
Actually, if you could get out of the photo, that would be perfect.
You got it, right?
all right. One more. Okay. Well, chip. See,
Maybe like scoop my shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh. Not really. Yeah. Moving on.
Ryan, turn your head regular. I mean this Ryan, sorry.
This is gonna be confusing. Ryan, what did you think? No, not you, Ryan. You don't. Oh no. Oh no. The hillbilly.
Where was he at? Right here.
Right about there. He's just
Pretty
chilling.
good. So, do you play elixirs?
The thing about it is, I think Paul McCartney said it best. It's like, oh, what type of strings do you play? Big shiny ones.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hate elixirs.
Yeah.
I can't stand them. It's the plastic around the string. I think you lose like some of the feel of the guitar from them. And I think it's kind of crazy that they're $25. However much they are for them.
Yeah, it's gear is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I buy mine at the dollar store. Those little plastic guitars.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say the Hello Kitty, just little, acoustic. My first guitar.
It makes it on.
It does.
Right.
So we are sitting down with Dover and the Elevators.
Yeah, what's up?
Going. Ryan and Tyler.
We are here.
Thanks for being here.
What are we here for, Tyler? He's not
Honestly, I didn't know this is what we were doing. I showed up for a ping pong tournament, and
that's after.
This is not what it is. But I'm okay with this. You got soup and grilled cheese, not grilled cheese.
It's kind of grilled cheese.
It's grilled cheese and ham.
It's
I try to feed everybody.
Bad boys too.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Thank you, sir.
Take a while to type.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank y'all for having us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Nice. So, what area do you live in, Tyler?
Just like 10 minutes down the road.
10 minutes.
I live in Salem, yeah.
Okay, Salem. Nice.
Near the sheets.
Yeah. Salem 8.
Okay. Yeah.
I used to work over. I used to work at a theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Dude, I think it was cool.
Yeah. There was a lot of mischief got it.
Real?
Really?
I've heard about people working at movie theaters getting
man,
bad
I
things.
definitely.
There was some drugs and some just a whole bunch of just
Wait, drugs are bad?
I mean, it depends on how much you do. It's
Oh, if you do like a lot, then it's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a limit.
I worked
Put
at
something
Valley View Grand for a while.
Okay.
I was always popping the popcorn in the back. That was my thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sneak something into like the big pile.
Oh,
Someone
yeah.
gets that lucky bag. I'm like, dang. Man, I lost my wallet there one time.
Oh yeah. Was it ever returned to you?
Well, I went and talked to the lady, the big head there, and she was very dismissive of me.
Really?
Yeah, it was really funny.
She
I was
was
like, damn, you don't give a fuck.
She was like, I have your wallet, and I just don't give a fuck.
She was short hair, just spitfire.
Yeah. I believe she was my manager.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. She's like,
It like kind of turned me on, but I was kind of like, kind of pissed me off. Though. Like, she was just like, I don't know what to tell you. Kind of like just like
It's
shrugged her shoulders.
it's gone. That's
Yeah.
Do you expect me to go through every single movie theater, search for your wallet?
it's gone. I mean, the ushers come in right after, and
I know they probably.
They pocket that shit.
Yeah.
They go home and put your ID on a wall of IDs.
I was like 8.
Call it the fool's wall.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like 8. Yeah, don't wear basketball shorts.
The Velcro wallet was just,
Yeah.
you know,
I think it was.
another one for the collection.
Yeah, I definitely found a heroin needle.
Oh, that's
Josh,
pretty
I think,
cool.
Yeah, that was the most fun thing I found.
Somebody had a good movie experience.
Oh
yeah.
They were awake for it.
Right.
I would always find what was it about the what are they? It's not alcohol. No, it's vodka, but it's like the grape. Like it's the really cheap.
like a Mad Dog.
Yes,
Yeah.
a bunch of Mad Dogs in. Yeah, I mean it was every. For about a month, there was like one every other day. I was like, somebody got, hey, somebody was having a good time.
Yeah.
He's like, time to go to the movies and drink a Mad Dog.
I mean,
Start my evening.
It's so gross. Yep.
it was always through children's movies. I need some of this.
I mean, it's basically candy, you know.
Sit back.
Dang. Basically candy. Just a whole bunch of like drunk as fuck 10-year-olds watching Pokemon.
So, Ryan, why this soup? Or no, hold on. Tyler chose the soup, didn't he?
Yeah, Tyler chose this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I was gonna go with tomato, honestly.
I think I nixed the tomato, to be honest.
Yeah. I
I
remember
don't
just
wanna
bringing
eat
it up, and you were
tomato
just
soup.
like, "So chicken noodle." Basically, you're
Because
like,
he was like
"No."
chicken noodle or tomato, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing tomato.
You not a big fan, man?
I don't like tomato. It's good with a grilled cheese
Yeah.
to dip in,
Oh, yeah.
but that's the extent that tomato soup is good for, as basically a condiment.
Right.
It's the vanilla ice cream of soups. Like, you want to have a cookie with it.
Right,
something,
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
It's like, yeah, something to go with it.
Big old cherry pie. Cherry pie. Tomatoes.
But you were talking, Ryan, about not being crazy about soup because of the beard.
Right, yes.
Your wonderful beard.
It's too messy. It gets in my mustache, in my beard, and the best part is like, it gets in there and you can't even see it. It'll be like underneath next to my lip or something, and a few days later there's just crusties falling out. I'm like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I was hiding in there.
It's called saving it. It's the savor flavor.
Right,
You don't
yeah.
have the flavor
Homemade
saver.
croutons, soup croutons.
Delicioso.
Yeah.
Your own flavor.
I guess, are you, let's get a little bit into the history of the band. We've already talked to Bailey. We know everything now.
What did Bailey tell you? What secrets has he released?
No, but Bailey was in,
Yeah, Dover started with me and Bailey.
Okay.
So we used to be in a band called Meat Department. It was me and Bailey and Tate Bell.
I should have listened to the tracks last night.
Oh, did you?
I'll show Rachel.
And Tate was always busy. He was the drummer. And we decided that Bailey and I could keep on a schedule. And we were like, fuck it, dude. We'll just start jamming together. Bailey started playing drums, which he didn't know how to do. And I played guitar, which I never known how to do. Still don't. And we started it as a White Stripes cover band. This was the original intention. Then we realized we can't play White Stripes songs, so we just started writing our own, and that's kind of how it came about. So, and then after Bailey left, it was like maybe a year into Dover. Jay, what is Jay's last name?
Violante.
Yeah, that's right.
I
He,
almost blinked.
yeah,
a lot. Hold on, Via Latte?
yeah,
It's
something
Violante
like that.
or, my bad, Jay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italian.
So he actually took over for Dover's first tour.
Okay.
Jay joined. He joined 2 weeks before the tour. We had like 2 practices and we went on tour. And then we recorded 2 songs together, Jay and I. That's actually one of the songs I sent you was with Jay. And then Tyler, I'd actually called him to see if he could fill for the tour, and he couldn't get off work. So, but we got back. Jay and I did the recordings, and I needed a break, so no more Dover for like a few months or whatever. And then I went to a festival, and at the festival, I hit up Tyler. I was like, dude, when I got back, you want to jam? And ever since then, it's been just me and Tyler kicking ass.
Well, it seemed to kind of fall into place. Well, it's funny how you'll find you find musicians that just kind of, they gel well.
So with being a White Stripes cover band,
A
sort of
failed
initially,
cover band.
is that what kind of has kept you guys being like a 2-piece, just in a way, or?
Yeah, because we've had friends that have offered, like, they're like, dude, I want to play bass. Because, we have fun. People see that. No, so they were like, dude, I want to play bass. And I was like, we like maybe talked about it, like, but it was just always a thing. We're just like, dude, it works.
Yeah,
and it's just fine the way it is.
Right.
We, for a period of time, we talked like the only addition we would be willing to entertain would not be a bassist, but a synthesizer. So that way they could play bass tracks, like where it doesn't need to be over synth, or they could play like synth lead or solos or rhythms or whatever. Something really varied to actually be worth a third member.
That would be.
But we've never gone that far as actually including one.
I've had quite a few people say, why don't they just bring in a bass player? I'm like, it works.
We don't need a bass player, goddammit.
I mean, that's kind of the signature. That's your sound at this point, right? Like
It makes
Definitely,
yeah.
So definitely.
Yeah.
There's a, and I mean, I will kiss your ass just a little bit, but no. You guys are probably my favorite Roanoke band.
Okay.
Local, and I there have been quite a.
Oh yeah, I think. Wait, hold on. Yeah, do it. Okay. Just did my
Sorry
notes.
to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Offering
I forgot. He just did his nails. I was
exactly.
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
You sound like a prince.
But no.
Thank you.
I gotta say, it's refreshing to see the red over the black. You see a lot of black nail polish. I dig it.
It's so nice. Yeah, go ahead. So sorry.
I'm sorry. No, but we've had. I mean, there've been at least 2 bands. Well, I mean, we've only done 4 of these, but essentially, I mean, I've shouted you guys out. So you are well loved.
And Sullivan was just telling me too about your live shows being quite a spectacle. I haven't had the privilege of seeing you guys yet.
It's
but, with the TVs, and where did the TVs and that kind of come in play?
So the TVs are we're with Bailey at Dover. We were trying to think of ways to like be different on stage. So at one point in time, I had this sweater that I put LED Christmas lights through, and I would cut it on for Dover. And then we still wanted more than just the sweater because it wasn't enough. So, and my grandma had offered this TV to me, and I was like, what am I gonna do with an old ass TV? I still have it, by the way, an old ass TV. And I said no to her, and then like the next day at practice with Bailey, we were talking about it. I was like, "Fuck, dude, I know where I can get a TV. Let's just get a TV, VHS, and go from there." So that's kind of where it spurred from. And now I have like 6 TVs with VHS or VCRs attached to them, and you only want to bring like 3. I think I've done 5 at most, but that's it. It was like at my house.
It's nice that you've salvaged those, because where do those things end up? I mean, just
The dumps.
The dumps. So many TVs. Just
It's sad to see them go now. I
Yeah.
had one growing up, and it had the VCR in it. It was perfect.
they
They just crapped out. So
with so what are your influences, or where? Yeah, wow. What about musical or otherwise, or just?
It's actually interesting. Tyler and I have pretty different musical influences.
You can go through each of them. That's
which is, I think, adds a lot to the dynamic for sure. I mean, I'm like all over the board. I like classic country. I like folk. You know, John Prine, Bob Dylan. Obviously, we were talking about the Beatles earlier.
Yeah,
the Beatles are a staple. I also really like the Dead Kennedys and Television and the White Stripes, obviously, and stuff like that. So it's kind of all over. I guess my favorite or my most consistent staple would generally be like CBGB's early, Talking Heads, Television, early punk bands and things like that. It would be more consistent staples on my Spotify list that I don't ever feel like
sharing.
Exploring further, I'm like, I know all these bands, but I'm just gonna go to this radio because I don't feel like 30 minutes of looking at my phone to find something to listen to. So.
Yeah.
What about you, Tyler?
So it's like, I think since jamming and hanging out with him, he's like definitely put some of that on me. So it's like I'm a fan of that stuff for sure, but then I'm also a fan of like, sort of all over the board as well, but like more like kind of just like skate punk shit and like hardcore stuff, but then classic rock's really cool, and I don't know, I kind of just like flow wherever, but it is definitely like something like growing up on like Blink and shit and so stuff like that, but also I have like mad respect for, all of this stuff. I don't know, it's cool. Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that question.
There's so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it is. It's like, because I love just all of it, like the stuff you were talking about, like all the underground, like the CBGB stuff. It's like, growing up on like Ramones and like Misfits.
One of the things that I love most about our dynamic is one of my favorite bands is the Dead Kennedys. And he doesn't like them at all. And one of his favorite bands is Blink. And I can't stand Blink.
So is Travis Barker like a big drumming influence for you?
Yeah, he definitely was, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people can speak definitely. That, but like, just like the music I was getting into and later got into, just they were all into that stuff too. So it's like, definitely big influence for sure.
Well, let's talk about Dog. You sent us some songs that we're going to play for the podcast. Can you tell us about Dog, which is something that came out like 5 or 6 years ago?
Yeah, that was the J.
So that was with Jay.
Okay, that's with Jay.
So Dog, it's hard. It's like hard to. That was like Dover's always had like these staple songs. So like, Dog was one of the early songs that like people always wanted to hear, and like Nice Hair, what we sent as well, and then so forth. But Dog was like the first one that people were like, "Are you gonna play Dog tonight?" Or after we play it, they're like, "We love that song that's like, that one." That one, yeah. So that was like our first big one that people always brought up, and it was one of the first ones where, like, I don't exactly remember how it was written, but it was kind of like we were just jamming. I think it was Bailey and I wrote the actual song, and then I ended up recording with Jay, but just jamming, the song came about, and then while we're jamming the song, I'm just like, all right, there's lyrics, boom, and it all came together, fun and stupid, and that one, I think that was one of the first ones where I used to always use the microphone stand on stage for like a noise solo and slam it on my neck board. And that was one of the first ones where it was like incorporated the microphone stand more than just noise. So like when it's at the very beginning, it's like dun, dun, dun. That the high notes are all from the microphone stand being slapped against the neck while I'm playing the rhythm with my right hand on the lower E. So it's a fun song.
Yeah.
It's a really fun song.
It is fun, yeah.
A shit at the park. It looked like a nice one from the looks of it. Then he turned around and he ate it. Then he turned around and he spit it back up. So I went over there and I ate it. Because the dog told me to. The dog told me to. The dog told me to. The dog! He told me to. Space, you know that awful place? Yeah, that office space. Everybody tries to tell me what to do, but I won't have none of it. I only listen to the dog. He told me to kill my boss, so I did. The dog told me to. The dog told me to. The dog, he told me to. There's my boss right there eating his own chip, eating everywhere. And the dog said, oh boy, they don't like when you do that sort of thing. You better run. You better run. I didn't, I made it home. The dog told me to. The dog told me to. The dog, he told me to. The dog's at my house, and he tells me, boy, they don't like your kind of way. You better learn to fight. You better learn to fight. So I sat down, watched TV.
If you have not seen Dover live, you should definitely go check them out because
Next show, you guys?
Yeah. When is your next show?
We don't have anything.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we went
had
hard there for a sec.
Yeah, we had like a period of last month where it was like a show after another, week after week. Mm-hmm. And by the end of it, I was like, thank fucking God it's over, dude.
It was cool at first. We were like, dang, it's been a while since we had back-to-back shows, but you know, it's cool to have a fast pace and then
And then
take a little break. Yeah. So we don't have anything booked for a while that I know of, but that could change tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah.
If it's a cool show.
Yeah.
I don't generally actively book Dover, so I don't really go out and ask around. It's usually just when people hit us up.
Mm-hmm. So, from, I guess, Dog is one of your earliest songs, or you would?
So it's not one of the earliest. So we have an album before the Dog EP, which is Whelp. And that's with Bailey.
Okay,
and that's Dover's first album, and
it's one of my favorites, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I listened back to it now, and I'm like, dude, this album is fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I probably couldn't play a single song off that album, to be honest.
Okay.
I've listened back, and I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? What is going on there? But Whelp is cool. Whelp was the first one, and then it goes to the Dog EP, and then Tyler's in the band, and I think it goes Cathode Ray, right? And then then Should Have Been Hardcore. And then our most recent album, which is Here to Disappoint.
I was going to say, like, it's the belly and the GBs and
yeah. And we have like a split with LA Dies where we did Nice Hair, and there's a hidden track in the physical copies, not on digital.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then we also released like a single to like promote Should Have Been Hardcore that has just songs off of Should Have Been Hardcore on it, but that's all the Dover recorded material.
That's the catalog.
A lot of stuff.
So from obviously your songwriting has changed, or do you think your songwriting has changed?
Yeah, I think I've gotten lazier, to be honest. I think about it all the time. I'm like, man, I wrote much better songs back in the day. So I give myself shit all the time for that exact reason.
So the trajectory of the band.
Yeah, just downhill,
just
dude.
going down.
Now it's all Tyler. I rely on him for everything.
I don't think so. I think our recent sets have been some of the best that we've ever done. They just like flow a lot better. It's a lot more just like get in, get out, and it's like really some cool songs.
You were talking about Whelp. Is that, so I noticed I was looking at your Bandcamp, it said like recorded live at Leftovers.
Yeah, so
where is that?
Leftovers is my old house.
I forgot to. We should get.
I was just curious about
so
that.
Leftovers is my old house, which is I did as like a DIY venue for like 8 years, and it's in Garden City.
Okay,
that's crazy.
So yeah, so 2013 I think was the first show, and then the last show was in 2020.
Okay.
So, 7 years. So
was mine? Did I play that? Hold on. That was one of the last shows.
I have the board still. So I remember I had that chalkboard when I put all the shows on.
Yes.
I still have it with all the shows of the last like ones that were coming up, and it's in our office now. But
I think I had. I want to say I was, if not the last, the second to last. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, at the time of doing Leftovers, when we first started it, there wasn't, most of the people in the scene that I knew at the time were under 21, so there weren't like a lot of venues where people that were younger could go. So obviously, Leftovers, the first Leftovers show was a Tyler benefit show for Tyler Wood here. Mm-hmm. He had broken his neck falling out of a tree. And we did a benefit show where we collected money for Tyler, and he was literally in there with neck brace, crowd surfing people. It was kind of ridiculous notion, but
that was a special time too, because like I was like barely knew him really.
Right. Yeah.
Like
I think that was like one of the first times we really were around each other. Was that show?
Because you pulled me aside to give me the money, and I didn't want to take it.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Do you want to keep some of this for yourself?" And you're just like, "No, dude. Like." This is for you. Do whatever you got to do with it. It's like, this is wild.
So but yeah, like Leftovers started as like just a place for the scene at the time to have music. So there was like this spot in Salem, but it was acoustic only. So all the bands there obviously had to play acoustically. And
that's where everybody
that was like
met.
That's where everybody met. Is the Stronghold.
Stronghold, yeah.
Yeah, and then Jordan Shell, which is in another band with Tyler. kind of was the original promoter for Leftovers. So they came to me, and asked if I would want to have shows at my house. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's do it. Because the only other place was the open mics at the Bazaar. So the Bazaar obviously was a staple and had been forever, basically. But I guess it was just...
Rest in peace.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Leftovers just started as out of lack there of any other options kind of situation.
Nice.
So you had towards the end there. Towards the end of the Leftovers, I think you had some good shows.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool to think back. I like the bands that came through and just thinking about that period of time. Well, when you're in it, you never think of it ending.
Yeah.
It just seems like another day, especially when you're literally living at the venue that bands sleep in your floor every week, or even more so often than that. So at the time, it felt like just normal life. And now that it's over, I look back and I'm like, man, something else.
Special time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's cool.
You did a lot.
Yeah.
You did a lot. That's really cool.
But, so, when was your first show together?
With Tyler?
Yes.
Bazaar.
Oh, was it? Was that the first one?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like our favorite place too. So that was cool.
Yeah.
I remember some of the songs we played.
Nice. Tyler's got that memory. I don't got that shit.
Some of them, and then some of them I'm like, I can't even remember our set list that we play the same thing, I'm like, what is the next one?
And I'm like, it's Ring.
Yeah. As long as one that starts with me, I'm like, that's what I get nervous about. I'm like,
Is this the one that? Yeah. It's like, yeah.
yeah.
You guys remember when, I think it was Plan 9 music used
Yep.
to be on,
Yeah.
I think Brandon.
So the cool story behind that, this is like some deep DIY stuff. I don't know. Maybe not deep, but Jamie, who owned the Bazaar, worked at Plan 9.
Right.
She sold her collection basically to start the Bazaar. That was like how she did it. It's really interesting. She's really, you should have her here.
Oh,
Jamie's like the running DIY queen, She's got,
And actually, you know what? I didn't think about that, but that is actually a very good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I'm sure she's got just stories for days.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a Plan 9.
There was a Plan 9.
Right here.
I played in it. It was a goofy little band I was in high school. We did a show there once, and we were playing too loud, I guess, and because there's the theater right next to it.
Yeah.
Why are they even having shows? I mean, it's a cool spot, but I guess
what was the name of the band?
Crank Radio.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
cool.
was back in the day.
Yeah. What was it called before it was Plan 9? I can't remember. Record Exchange? That's what it
Maybe
was called.
so.
Yep.
Yeah, I mostly remember it being Plan 9.
Yeah.
But
Because it's in Richmond now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably.
That's where that,
Mhm.
the attack, who killed the Zootons big poster I have
Yeah,
downstairs? That's
where
where
you
that's
got
from, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I feel like it was probably cooler back then. So now it's just like
Yeah, now it's just like a
a
traditional
lot of-
music store that you kind of see the Plan 9 in Richmond is. Yeah, so it was right next to, where the,
You said a theater? It was next to
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was right near the.
it was, I think it was on the corner, wasn't it?
It was not. It was like next to Community, and I guess
Yeah.
kind of.
Oh,
yeah, but not quite on the corner.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
That's rude. But
It's
yeah,
been
it
so
was-
long.
Yeah.
Dang.
The dance studio that's there. Kind of. I think it was in between the dance studio and the Community, and
Nice.
yeah. Mhm.
So we have pizza places right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Grace's place.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Shout out to Grace. My mom knows her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember when she was starting it, like getting it
Okay.
together. Yeah.
Mhm.
Really cool.
So, this I like to call this segment. What is your best gig? What is your worst gig? And what is the craziest gig that you've ever played?
Ooh, fun.
Craziest gig.
I don't
That's a
know.
good question.
We'll work up to that. We'll think.
Yeah. So
Alright.
the best gig is pretty easy. I think you'll agree. Just like the Super Dark.
Yeah.
The first
okay,
one?
Yeah. I was thinking
Easily.
because there's been a couple that were like, yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, but
Super Darks are always good.
the
To us.
first Super Dark that we played. So there's this music collective, which you should actually definitely check them out. They have they do live radio, like a community radio thing, but they put it on SoundCloud after it's done, and they have some sick ass bands roll through, and they do only bands that play Super Dark Collective shows. But it's Super Dark Collective, and it's in Saratoga is where it started, New York. But they also do like Troy and another one of the cities around there. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the first time we played there, Tyler and I, it was our first tour together, I think.
Yeah.
And we roll up, and it's like this really kind of nice downtown kind of feel. Saratoga Springs is very posh. And we walk into this bar / restaurant, and it's a jazz bar. So there's like jazz musicians on the walls, there's jazz music playing, and it's fancy. It's like really fancy. And Tyler and I are like, oh shit. So we walk in, and Shane is behind the counter bartending, and he goes, Dover in the elevators. And we're like, oh shit. So they actually know who we are, and they're not just agreeing to allow us to play, and we're going to have a terrible show. Yeah. But no, we sit down, and they fed us, and it was like unlimited food and drinks at this fancy ass place, like really good food, like expensive good food. And around like 8 or 9, they like shut the restaurant down, and then it becomes like the Super Dark show. All the weirdos. And literally just punks just start rolling through the door, and we're like, oh fuck yeah, dude. And it was just the funnest, dude. The people were into it. People were like skanking and stuff. And they had, the way it was set up at the time is there was like this wall that went around to the entrance, and the band was on the other side of the wall. So people were lined up on the wall, like looking over at us, and there were people all in front of us. It was just a really fun time. So we've always gone back. Anytime we're on tour, we try to, if we're going north, we're going to play a Super Dark show, you know. But they have some of the coolest bands come through. Like, let's see, what is that band from Harrisonburg that I really like? My brain is flopping. It'll come to me eventually. But they have like some of my favorite bands from all over go through there. Like the really cool.
You don't hear about jazz and punk worlds colliding.
Yeah. So I think Shane already worked there, and he talked to the owner. That actual bar has closed. That restaurant has closed, and he moved it across the street to another bar where he keeps having shows there. But then he does shows in Troy, and there's one other city that they do shows in. And so they have like 3 shows a week now, basically. At one point in time, it was 1 show a week.
It's really cool to see that they're still going too. Like, you can follow them on Instagram and stuff. What is it?
There's water running or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, is it water? Is it? Like, I didn't leave the. I don't think I left the oven on.
Yeah, it might be worth checking. I've been here for a second. Yeah.
Big old boom.
But,
the stove. Oh, yeah, that sounds about right. I got it. Thank you.
Now it's boiled soup.
Boiled soup. I'm probably gonna have to.
That's some crispy soup in there.
Well, I mean, hey, it's not the first time that's happened.
But
fire hazards, you know, galore. Anyways,
Super Dark's definitely, that first show especially was like, I think that's one that always stands out in my memory for sure as like one of the best.
Though when Lucy played their first show, it's so funny because the other guys, it's like. None of us. I had never been to the Pizza Den before that day, and it was. We walked in, and Tim goes, "Is this a Chuck E. Cheese?" And
it's got that vibe, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I wish it was.
That would have been amazing. It's like, we have just booked a gig at Chuck E. Cheese.
Can you imagine like going on stage with the animatronics and you're playing, you're set around them?
Yeah. It'd be like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Game.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a family-friendly vibe there. I haven't been there yet. Pizza Den. But...
Yeah, you could walk in. It could be you're like, all right, it's gonna be one of those nights.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen it like pretty packed out there. I guess.
Cool.
I like it because I grew up going to Pizza Den when it was like over on the side town I grew up on. So.
And I think Jamie's brother owns that now?
Yeah, he's a part of it or owns it or something like that. I don't know exactly the setup, but what's the worst show, Tyler?
Let's
figure that one out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like really fun, but when we played Burlington, Vermont,
I was thinking that too.
We got put on after a comedy show, and it was like super late. Like we didn't go on until like maybe 11:30 midnight, and nobody knew that a band was coming on after a comedy gig. So like they all do their thing, and they go get drinks and go to the other room, and then we're like bringing shit in, and they're just like
looking at us. And the place was it was like an open mic comedy thing, and it was packed. Like this tiny little it's this bar / restaurant called Radio Bean in Burlington. It was pretty cool, and so it's like packed out, people there for comedy, and we start bringing our shit in, and everybody's looking at us goofy. And something that happens on a regular basis is the minute I like do the first strum, 10 people will jump, look, and leave. So, like that's like a very, very consistent thing. Wow. And that kind of like happened, and we started playing our set because back, especially in those days, we knew that was going to happen. Happens a lot. So I would do a strum, and then we would just go right into the set. There would be no, okay, we're ready. It's just we're playing now. We don't know if you're ready. It doesn't matter. But as that's happening, like literally the bar's packed, right? They're getting their drinks, and as fast as they can get their drinks, they're going outside. Out the door. And in Burlington, I think you could drink on the street, if I remember correctly. So they were just getting their drinks and leaving. Yeah. It was pretty funny. I guess another really good show we had was when we played Savannah. Do you remember what that bar was called?
That was a really cool one. No, the Jinx.
Yeah, so which was actually apparently was a really more popular like venue in Savannah, and it started out. One of the bands had dropped. It was just a 2-band bill, us and some locals, and they were nothing like us. It was very traditional kind of bar band. Okay. And they started with a door charge, and nobody was coming in. The place was empty. And right before our set, the sound guy comes up and he's like, "Would y'all be willing to do like just a flat rate, and we just have free entrance fee, and so people come in?" And I was like, "Sure." And he was like, "How's $200 sound?" And I was like, "Oh hell yeah, dude! Like, that would be the best paycheck of the tour." And so we go to set up, and as we're setting up, it's starting to fill out. And by the time we're at the end of our set, the whole fucking bar is full. And I was like, "That's sick, dude! Fuck yeah, it's cool."
The first encore we've ever done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was an encore. That's right.
Really?
Yeah, we actually did it.
Yeah, we actually did it.
Because they were actually like,
keep playing.
Yeah, like play another one, and thankfully we had another one. I think we played Circle Bombs.
I think so too. Yeah.
I was kind of nervous because we hadn't played it, but I was like,
let's just do it.
Gotta do it.
So that was probably our second best show, I guess.
That was a really cool one.
But I don't know about Wildest, man. That's a hard one.
It was also Bike Week down there in Savannah, so the streets, like we came out Lunar Year, it was like Mardi Gras down there. Yeah. Like, it was insane.
Savannah's another city where you can drink outside.
Oh,
so everybody's shit faced.
You just essentially, where can you drink outside?
That's where I want to play. Speaking of the Burlington show, actually, I remember this distinctly. By the time literally everyone had left, there was our friend Carrick was with us. He was on tour with us that tour, and that actually is the same tour that the first time we played Saratoga. Pretty sure. So he was with us. He was in the crowd, the bartender was in the crowd, and 2 other friends of mine that are my best friend's like sister-in-law and her husband were there. They came because they lived in Vermont or whatever. That was the crowd. after the entire comedy scene had left, and we're like 1 song from finishing, like 2 songs from finishing, something like that. And I watched this guy walk past the door, and then he literally like walks backwards and looks in, and then runs in, and he's just rocking out in front of us. And I was like, "Hey, we got one!
We got him.
That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Good energy. There you go.
You guys definitely have a good energy on stage. Yeah,
it's pretty much all I got.
Yeah,
I can't play, so
I liked it. Yeah.
So you guys have toured quite a bit. Sounds like.
I don't know.
East Coast.
I don't remember how many. Yeah, so we actually were trying to do like a longer one, book a longer one for 2020, because we at the time the way we were doing it consistently. I was working at the railroad, so I only had like 2 weeks of vacation a year, and that would be my vacation. Is we would go on tour. So I would book a 9-day tour, 5 days off from work, and then I would take a day off extra to do like 9 days, and we would do that twice a year, or we would do like a long weekend, like 4 days, and then another long weekend. So all of my vacation every year for almost like 4 years was us just going on tour, and that was all I wanted to do. It was fun. But 2020 came around, and I had gotten laid off from the railroad, and we were planning on trying to do like 2 or 3 week long and go, straight up northeast where we had a lot of connections, and then go start Midwest and come down the Mississippi through like Tennessee and down into Texas, and then across the southeast back towards where we have connections again, and then back up north. But because of COVID, it kind of shot all the way down.
Yeah.
And that's booking a tour is like literally takes over 6 months, and you're just like you have to send emails every day. It's a lot of work. So
well, you also put together with the DIY DUI.
Yeah.
The DUI. No, the DIY.
Yeah, DUI fest. I like that. No,
Coming soon.
That was just something I wanted to do. It's the same way with Leftovers. It's just something I wanted to do. So had made a festival and picked pretty much all the DIY bands I knew in town that were worth a damn, and put it all together in 2 days. Jamie was booking at the Bazaar at the time, or at the spot at the time. So I just hit her up. I was like, "Hey, Jamie, this is what I want to do." And she kind of gave me an outline of what she expected to see from me, and just hit those. And look, it worked out because that place next door was unoccupied. It was a church had just left it, and so the one that's a tattoo place, the one that's a tattoo place now. So that was open. So I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to have 2 stages, one for quieter acts, the other for large bands, and this is how I'm going to line it up and everything, and hit up some bands from out of town that I'm good friends with, Top Nachos, R.I.P., and Lung, who I knew were consistent, heavy, like just excellent acts. You could rely on them hardcore. They were like hardcore tour bands, very professional. We'll have them come through, and then it'll just be a fucking badass festival. So, and actually, COVID, I was thinking about booking DIY Fest 2, and it was going to be in March of 2020. And actually, the reason it didn't work out is I didn't want to do it at Spot again. Yeah. Because I wanted it to be free. I wanted to do a free festival. I thought that more people would come out. Yeah. It'd be more fun. Oh. And I was trying to have it at the old Flying Panther spot. That little room where that brewery's at now. And I actually had been in talks with them, and they kind of, I had just gotten laid off, and I went to Europe for a month, and they kind of like ghosted me after that Europe trip. And I was tired. I didn't feel like booking it, and I had planned for March, and then I just kind of let it slip, and I didn't do anything with it. And then COVID happened. I was like, thank God I didn't actually book this whole festival for March, and then they just got shot down. So
that would have been a lot. For sure. A lot of people's plans. Yeah. So.
Do you have a wildest one? If we still haven't even finished your question.
No, this is great.
I mean, always showing up to Lynchburg with the naked hippies.
Oh yeah, that was pretty wild.
Just like, I mean, it was like a wild
naked
just setting, but like.
But they weren't hippies. They were they were crust punks.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like train hopping crust punks. And we show up and they're literally like naked in the front yard for this show.
All right.
Yeah, that's likely the most just ridiculous of a experience that we've had, I guess.
I don't know. Think of one that's like maybe, I don't know, just like the energy wasn't what we like expected it to be usually, because it's like confused or like it's just weird. But there's been some where people actually like get people dancing and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's always fun.
Like you said, like Super Dark was just
that was very unexpected.
Savannah too, just like it was cool.
Now this is kind of a side tangent, but have all of your recordings been recorded at the Leftovers, or have you used other?
So we've used others. So the very first one was at Leftovers. Jordan Doyle did that one, and it was like very hodgepodge. Like at the time, he had almost no equipment, and we actually ran all of the mics through my PA, and then condensed it down to a left and right, and into his interface, which had 2 channels.
Yeah,
and so we had to pre-mix essentially all of the sound, and we used a practice amp for the kick mic. You just wire it in reverse, and so when the speaker goes in, it sends a signal, and that's your kick. Okay. And then he had this A and B microphone, so a split mic, and it actually shot into 2 directions. We hung it over top of the drum kit and basically pointed it at the cymbals. We had a mic on the snare and a mic on the tom, I'm pretty sure. And then we took my amps and pointed them into the corner of the room and dropped 2 mics down, one in front of each amp, and like covered them so they wouldn't echo as bad, I guess. Yeah. And then I was singing in the kitchen.
I was going.
Yeah, so I could see Bailey, but it wouldn't bleed over as badly. So that's how we did that whole album. And then for Dog, we actually recorded at John Pence's house in his basement. It was me and Jay.
We were talking about recording at John's.
He's got a cool basement.
He really does. Basement, yeah. And then, which it was funny, I actually had to come back and overdub. So it was live initially, but one of his mics hadn't been working, and he didn't realize it until we were done. I had to come back with one of my guitar amps, the one that didn't get recorded at all, and overdub the 2 songs with just that guitar amp, which at the time I was very well practiced. We were just off of tour and wasn't an issue, but I was like, damn. But and then so
studio malfunctions are always a fun.
Yeah. So Nice Hair Idiot. It's funny. Cathode Ray and Should Have Been Hardcore were both recorded by Marshall Hicks.
Okay, I was we'll get into that in a moment.
So the Nice Hair though was recorded in Marshall's basement.
I've also recorded in Marshall's. Okay,
yeah, and it's funny because I love the vocals on Nice Hair, and then we didn't have the vocals on any of the rest of the album. It's very different from the later on because we picked a reverb or something to record just straight live with those vocals on Nice Hair, and then later on, Marshall was like, "Well, we can just add whatever effects to the vocals," and then I'm lazy, and I was like, "Well." Nah. So, but we did. Cathode Ray was actually recorded at the Space, and that was before it was even open.
I was going to say the old Space or
the one next to East End.
Yeah,
before it burned down, or not the one that burnt down, or whatever happened. The one next to East End Shops. They had just rented it. They were like painting and stuff still, and Marshall was like, "Let's do it here." So we did it there, and then. Should Have Been Hardcore was also recorded at the Space by Marshall, and that's the only album that I play a guitar other than my Jackson.
I was gonna say your standard is that Jackson with the little light.
Yeah. So I played the Jackson for the whole album. We did it all live. Tyler and I live everything, vocals and everything like that, and then. What we did is I came back and I was like, I want to add like some more low end to a few songs. So we borrowed, what is the guy's name in Eternal Summers with the long hair? Plays drums. Daniel. Yeah, he let us borrow. He has a Strat with a Floyd Rose. So I borrowed a Strat with Floyd Rose, and then we ran it through my Yamaha and put it like lower, a little bit more deepness into the Yamaha amp some more, and then I overdubbed like 3 songs with it. So I have 2 guitar tracks on a few of those songs, and the other guitar is a Strat. And then the most recent album, Jeff, what is his last name? That does Goth Night.
I know who you're
Heveron or something like that.
Yeah.
Jeff recorded us at Leftovers again.
Really?
And the way we did it there is Tyler was in the band room and I was in the music room, which is on the where all the bands put their gear. And I was singing in there, and my amps were in the band room. Or no, my amps were in the kitchen, and Jeff was in the kitchen, and we recorded there, and it was all live as well, and with some overdubs of vocals, and that was it.
So you kind of used your whole house as a studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Just using different rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I remember coming in, and I was recording I think my first EP with Marshall, and he's like, he got on the subject for you guys. He goes, yeah, I think that for the next one, I have some ideas, and it's like I want a little bit lower end since they're a 2-piece, and it's like I have some ideas. I think that would have been I guess that would have been hardcore.
Probably,
yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, we for recording we usually, especially for paying. So Jeff did it for free, but we pay Marshall and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean,
we would go in there. It's something I forget what documentary I was watching. I was talking about how this band from the documentary they had all their shit together. They literally went into recording in one day and knocked it out, and that's how we've done all of our recordings. There's no we did 2 days for Should Have Been Hardcore, but that's 15 songs.
Yeah.
And we went in and we would play the song maybe 5 or 6 times, and if we got it, great. If we didn't, too bad. We're moving on.
It's like an old school rock and roll kind of style.
I like the rush. I like it kind of makes it so that you just gotta go for it, and if there's mistakes and stuff, those are just gonna be part of the song now, essentially.
Excuse me, I'm just eating One second. I swear.
Take your time.
Oh wait, we can edit this.
Yeah.
So. Did you mean to play that? Well, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It might have been a mistake, but now it's on the record, so yeah.
It just becomes
that definitely happened. So with Nice Air, actually, I kid you not, we played that song 50 times that night.
Whoa!
Because Marshall kept having us play it over and over again, and in that song, I have to hand mute. I'm playing this and then muting in a bar chord, and that's the rhythm. So I'm dun 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 the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
And I did that 50 times over, and my forearm was going numb by the end of the set, and it would get to the point where by the time we're at the end of the song and it's supposed to be dun 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 dun, my fingers would just be dun 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 dun, just fucking it all up, and we ended up just having to go with the best of the ones that worked.
100,000.
Yeah.
What happened that you needed to record that song as many times as
I think
you did?
it was our first time with him, and maybe he was just thinking it needed to be something. But we learned that night that we were okay, we just gotta tell him look, man,
that's
we don't
the end
need
of
this
it.
to be polished. It's cool. We want it to sound raw. But I think he was just trying to make it sound the best he could.
Right.
Because I remember he was sitting there with me just sound checking my snare, getting that right for it felt like
forever.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was Marshall, I love you, dog, but dude,
yeah.
if it's got a good crack to it, that's all I need. Let's just keep going.
And he definitely is a perfectionist in that way. It's kind of I remember I was doing a guitar lead or whatever, and he let me finish the guitar lead, and then he just, it's, he had that mixing board. I always imagine there's like a piece of glass. There's not, but he's like, I think you can do that better. It's just like, I was like, I felt pretty good about that. I was like, nope.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. Do it again.
I think at that time, too, for Nice Hair, the way we were doing it, he wasn't going to be able to mix it after. It was just a straight live run. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, I don't remember why. And so he was like, as we're playing and as we're making noise, also mixing the track for what he wants to hear. So we would play the song like 3 or 4 times, and he's like, all right, I think I've got the mix right. Then we're playing it 5 more times. He's like, oh, I've adjusted this. 30 times later, I'm dying over here. My arm's so damn sore. And they're like, Marshall, that's it. I have to go to work literally now.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of the local scene? I guess, 2022.
So it's obviously always changing. The DIY scene in general is changing constantly. So obviously, as well, not having leftovers be a thing anymore, and also being burned out from such heavy influence in DIY for so long. I've really kind of checked out. Early 2020, COVID, I was like, thank fucking God. I can turn off my work brain that's always running for DIY music and just not worry about it for a while. And it definitely, there was just locally and in the DIY scene regionally or nationally that I was involved in or could see, Facebook and things like that. Yeah. It was kind of crazy to just watch everything die, just whoosh, right after COVID, and it's been interesting seeing resurgences. It's almost like the great reset of the music scenes in general across the board. And it's cool to see what actually made it out on the back end of it, and bands that made it out. Like, there are so many cool bands that died when COVID came around. Yeah. Like, bands that were so good and would roll through all the time and just no more. Yeah. And obviously there's still great bands that are around, but it
definitely has taken a breath, or a breath out. Yeah, I'm sorry. It definitely has taken the wind out of the sail.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And it's kind of like watching what will the new scene be, you know. And at the time, early 2020, you know, the scene the actual local scene that Leftovers was a part was kind of disappearing. You know, there wasn't much support anymore at Leftovers. People wouldn't come out really like they had in the early days or in mid days or whatever. And, you know, I understand people go to college and get jobs and things like that. And it was interesting to see the scenes that were actually starting at that time. So there was like a place called The Basement, like in Grandin, and like the Snapping Turtlenecks high school crew, like Orange Culture crew. They had like huge crowds that would come out, right? Yeah. But it would only be like their high school bands that they would show up for and stuff. Yeah. And it was cool. Like, I was like, I wonder where this is going to go. And then actually COVID hit, and it almost preemptively killed that scene. Like, their band, the Orange Culture in particular, still survived it. Oh, but like the scene culture that was coming from it kind of took a hit from that. And then I was like, okay, well, what's going to happen now that the young kids scene is preemptively knocked out? What's the next generation after that? And so it's like we're kind of in it now where things are starting to get the ball rolling. And you have like the Flying Panther, I think, is a good example of like a currently active scene, but it's more or less mostly like hardcore and stuff like that. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily have too much alternative DIY, whatever you may want to include in that span.
When Lucy played there, we all kind of turned to each other and like, what are we doing playing here? But everybody liked it.
Yeah, and it was...
He's definitely... Yeah, Farron's definitely gotten a mix in there.
Yeah, for sure. And the part of the reason why the Flying Panther scene probably isn't diverse enough is just that the people that would book bands that aren't hardcore don't ever book the bands there, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not really a promoter that's focused on things other than hardcore currently. So you have like Josh Glisson. Yeah. And he's interested in hardcore, and he goes outside of that on occasion. Like, that band that we played with recently was very indie, very cool kind of thing. But it's not status quo for them, right? So, and he's pretty much the only like consistent DIY promoter active in Roanoke at the moment that I really can think of, you know, that's constantly booking bands as its own thing. You know, you had Bizarre Presents, and that's gone. Leftovers, that's gone. Now it's just Josh. Now it's just Josh, and he's bringing bands mostly through Flying Panther. He's also going like Spot and stuff like that. But I like Flying Panther because it's free to $7 or whatever. You know, it's like an actual DIY venue.
I feel like Jordan.
Jordan does stuff like Pizza Den, but most of Jordan's stuff is like his close friends that are coming through again. You know, like Callie Cousins, stuff like that. I was thinking of Doyle actually. Oh, that's right. Well, yeah, Jordan Doyle too. I was actually talking to Jordan recently, and because he asked me what it's like not booking anymore, and I was like, I was pretty tired of it, you know. And he's kind of in the same position that I was in near the end of my run, where, you know, he's like, you know, I don't know if it's worth anymore. Right?
It was harder for the younger crowd that was just coming up to be hit at that time.
Right. Yeah.
You kind of need that community.
Yeah.
To get your feet off the ground.
The community, and like the when you're younger, dude, your desires are more influential in your activities, and you have more energy, you have less responsibilities, you know, so you can kind of be the wave of the scene, right? You can help push your friends into going, nobody has anything better to do, let's go to this show. Mm-hmm. So losing that kind of needed injection for the DIY scene, I think has definitely been hard on it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's great bands out there still. Yeah. But most of us are older people that don't necessarily want to go to every show. Yeah. You know, so I don't blame them when you go to a show and nobody's there. You're like, dude, I don't even want to be here. What are you talking about?
It is a real thing.
It's just like, I gotta go. I gotta get up and go to work tomorrow. It's just
like, I don't want to load these fucking amps in, dude. Nah. Stand around and make my back hurt. Nah, dude, fuck that. So I understand why most people don't support anymore, especially when you have to compete with fucking Netflix and computers, there's not much reason to leave your house if you can help it.
Especially with winter and stuff.
Fuck yeah. So it is kind of it's a give and take. And it's cool to see the resurgence of certain venues and shows and influences, but also the scene from when I started playing and the scene from before that, like with the bands that played the Bazaar and the bands that were like influential with like Jamie and all of them, and the scene that we have today, they have different things they have to compete with. Yeah. And a lot of that has to do with things that keep you at home. And it makes it really hard to get people to leave their house if it's cold outside and it's dark and
it's raining.
It's right, and it's fucking, they got to work tomorrow and they're probably going to have to rush some kind of random food into their mouth because they got to be at the show that starts at 6 and it's going to be done at 10. And so shows are hard. Booking shows are hard, and having people come out to shows is nearly impossible. So that's just music.
Nature of the game.
Yeah.
Every time I'm taking my drums up and down on the 3rd floor of my apartment, I'm like, it's worth it. It's worth it, right?
You're telling yourself.
It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, I would never want to stop. But it's just one of those things. You gotta go for it, make it what you want it to be.
Right.
And but sometimes you're just like, I won't be even watching a movie.
I would much rather. You do have those. You do have those gigs where it's.
Oh, dude, yeah. But it's kind of fun. It's kind of charming in its own way. Oh yeah. Like you're like, man, there's like nobody here. But you see a movie, they're just playing a nobody, and you're like, that's so cool. Yeah. You're like, I'll get that right now.
One of my favorites was when Lucy opened for Bummer Camp.
Yeah, okay.
And I think my favorite, Tim is just, he was in a booth and I took a picture of him and it's just, there's nobody. This was before, a little crowd showed up, maybe 5. A handful of people showed up, but it just. Big old grin. That's probably one of my favorite pictures of Tim. Shout out to Tim. But so, is there any local musicians you looked up to, or
Good question. I listened to that when y'all were talking about Lucy. When Lucy was here, and I was like, what band would I choose for that? And it's not even a hard question, dude. Tyler knows my answer. Yeah. There's the best run of band, hands down, dude, is Hiva Hava. Best band. Mark is such an amazing songwriter, and also just an eccentric person in general. And
all of my interactions with Mark have been eccentric is a good way of describing.
What's the name of the band again?
Hiva Hava.
Hiva Hava.
Yeah, okay. So Mark has the coolest. You have to have him here, dude. He has the coolest fucking stories. Mark, so I've given he lives in Garden City, and there's a venue in right outside of Garden City called Art Rat. Mark goes there all the time, and when I was in Garden City, I would go to Art Rat all the time. Obviously, it's 2 minutes away. I would just ride my bicycle there. And it's mostly art performance kind of stuff, people like screaming and eating raw meat and shit like that.
Yeah. Wayne.
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 Yeah.
The
the Llewellyn expedition or whatever it's called. So Mark is always at Art Rat. I would be at Art Rat all the time. We would chat and stuff, and Mark would be at other shows but I would give him rides occasionally in like my van or whatever. He would just tell me all these crazy ass stories. Apparently, so when he used to live in Ohio, in Cincinnati, and he also is from, you said Pittsburgh, right?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He's from, I don't know what town. It's not like a main city, but it's like, he told me the other day.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those, I never heard of it, but yeah.
But, so apparently, this is something I find fascinating. It's a story I tell a lot of people. I was with Mark. I don't remember if Tyler was there or not. I think I was by myself with him, and he was telling me, it started off by me talking shit about the Black Keys. I hate them.
Mm-hmm.
And,
so you fall on the White Stripes side.
Right. And I was like, I just hate their pseudo blues, like poppy blues rock thing they got going on. And Mark was like, well, isn't that like what the White Stripes did? And I was like, I mean, you're not wrong, but you're not right either. And he told me apparently in the scene of Ohio when he was younger, he had a band. I don't know if it was Heva Hava at the time. He was in like some other metal band for a while too. Mm-hmm. But like a bunch of his band members actually got stolen by Jack White and are in the Raconteurs. And those are people he was in a band with. And Mark's like butthurt about it because he hates fucking Jack White. And that story is so sick to me. I just love that shit. And I've never forgotten that story. It's so cool.
You don't even have to pry it out of him either. He'll just lay it on you.
I love Mark for that shit.
Another one of his friends that he lived in Cincinnati with played in the Murder Junkies with G.G. Allen. I was like, that was such a crazy time.
Scene, yeah. Oh my god, dude. Mark has some cool. So I don't want to steal all of his stories he's going to tell on this podcast if you ever have him on here. But he joined like this metal band or some kind of like heavier band and just went on tour in Europe.
Yeah. Like
after being with them for like a month or something, just goes on tour in Europe with them. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So Heva Hava is the fucking sickest band in Roanoke.
Didn't he have an album by did Steve Albini?
Steve Albini did.
Beanie Baby.
He did one yeah. I have that in my car right now. Yeah.
Damn.
I did not know that. That's sick.
I forgot that. Yeah, he gave me a bunch of CDs the other day.
That's cool.
Just like, yeah, just take this shit home, man. You know, listen to it, tell me what you think. And it was like, one of them was like a brand new copy of it. And he was like, I got shit tons. You can just have that. And I was like,
I was talking to Brett
Trout.
Yeah, Brett Trout. Thank you. I'm like, it's a fish. It's
shout out Brett Trout.
Shout out Brett.
That's a homie.
Oh yeah, he was we were talking about Mark, and he goes, yeah, I asked him one time, like, it's like how did you do that with how'd you get Steve to do it? It's like, we paid him.
Basically. Yeah.
So,
easy peasy.
Good services, man.
Yeah, it's we came in, said here's, but that's so Heva Hava. I'm gonna have to actually write that down.
Mark is a character, dude. You better plan for a longer fucking podcast with Mark. Yeah, I love that guy. He's just so much.
Speaking
it's awesome.
Of Brett Trout, though, I think another influence of mine would be one of his old bands that he was in with Marshall Hicks, called the Makeouts.
Yeah.
Makeout, yeah. So they all went to like the same high school I did.
Yeah.
In high school when I was like starting middle school, so
what
it was
high school?
Northside.
Yeah.
It's a funny story. I used to work with Brett.
Okay.
And I would run into. I was recording with Marshall at the time, and it's like, oh, do you work with a guy, Brett Trout? And he goes, I'm like, yeah, I know Brett. He's like,
yeah.
Well, tell him I said hello. And it was It's like, oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know where I'm going with that one. It's just,
It's wild. You're like, oh, y'all know. Okay. Oh, y'all like playing in a band together.
yeah, it's wild who you'll talk to, and it's like, oh wait, you two know each other? I would never have guessed that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I knew of Marshall Hicks from Nancy and Two Meteors. That was
okay.
To the whole
Nancy's
thing.
great.
Yeah, that was a cool man.
yeah. So I guess let's talk about There I Go.
Oh yeah, okay.
Let's.
You want to take the rant? I might just pee real fast.
Oh no! Hey, we can take.
No, take the microphone in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
here
you go.
Yeah.
Fucking dare you, Tyler.
Oh,
Pee
no.
next to that microphone,
Do
dude.
not tempt me. It'll happen. As long as you don't mind. I'll put it far away
So it doesn't get splashed.
none of the stream gets, rich.
There we go.
Do you have enough?
Maybe.
Shoot, I'll set this shit out the crack of the door.
Perfect.
Right.
Wow.
Here, Sully, you just hold it for him.
Okay.
The microphone, I mean.
So Tyler, how does it feel to be interviewed from the bathroom?
I tell you what, Sully, it's great releasing the stream while talking to some of my good friends,
We're streaming.
Yeah, we are streaming.
Live streaming. It's a good color right now, solid stream. The white streak.
Like the white stripes.
This is the first for the podcast. Just, Jack White told me how to pee.
Honestly, this is probably the most fun I've had on this. I'm
gonna shave real quick.
I mean, hey,
Nothing more fun than recording another
razors
man.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's flush right there. So he is currently done. All right. It flushes. Oh, that's just a half. That's just a half right there.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's alright.
Well,
All for a soft scrub. I'm washing my hands with right now.
hey, grab one of your salt. Oh, go for it.
Just kidding. Hand soap.
And mine.
Don't get weird, y'all.
Oh no, I might have to.
Number 2 is for, you gotta get the next guest to do a number 2.
It's gonna get weird, Kenny. I'm sorry, but you're just gonna have to take a. Just gonna have to take a shit in my for entertainment, Kenny.
Maybe we should take a break and take a leak too.
Would you like me to
recorded the pee.
Yeah, I think that. Where do you want your
Probably just something, like fill our bellies before we go to like the Halloween bash. So something like that. But yeah, grilled cheese, man.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with grilled cheese. I mean, it's
so good.
All right, speaking of Halloween,
What's up?
okay.
I'm gonna interrupt this entire flow.
Damn,
No.
rude.
The feng shui. No.
Favorite Halloween candy, Sully.
Oh god.
Go for it, baby girl.
I would have to go with the not the toothpicks. No, the little
candy corns.
Candy corns. There you go.
Oh
I
my
was gonna-
god. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
That's
I was thinking candy
Right.
corn too. But
What?
yeah.
okay.
How many Halloween candies are there?
I'm trying to
Is there a
actually-
lot?
Isn't all candy Halloween?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say if it's my favorite candy, that's a Butterfingers. Any day of the week,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
give me a Butterfinger.
Yeah, Sour Patch Kids.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Nice.
Sour Patch, yeah.
I'm trying to think. Probably something that, like, if I was to go trick or treating, that I would get stoked to get.
Yeah,
Pull out a
yeah.
bag, like, oh hell yeah. I mean, probably Snickers are always solid.
Okay.
Little
Oh.
bite-sized Snickers. Or a Twix.
The fun size.
Yeah, but like sour-wise, yeah, probably some Patch Kids
No.
or
What is your opinion on Mountain Dew?
So I don't drink soda.
Okay.
yeah. What's your
Yeah.
favorite Halloween candy though? Come on.
Yeah.
Reese's all day, dude.
Oh yeah.
Reese's.
Oh yeah. That's
All day.
Yeah.
If I'm like looking in that bag and just grabbing all the Reese's and throw the rest away. I don't really care.
I like
Give me
that
the
white
Reese's
chocolate
though.
Reese's.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just
You
Reese's.
can't go wrong with chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
No.
Reese's Pieces are good too.
Oh.
I don't really see those around them. I don't know why they're harder to find. It seems.
They only come in like it's either like small bag or
Or
like
the
big
huge
ass
bag.
bag, and
Yeah.
you're just like, all right, Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. No, I was gonna say Mountain Dew was the. I have a coworker who loves to bring in. It's like, oh hey, try this flavor of Mountain Dew, and crack open that battery acid and sip on it. That's nasty. Okay, there you go. That's all for you, buddy.
People do like their Dr. Pepper and
But no, they
Oh,
do.
yeah.
they really
My
do.
sister loves.
Shout out to
that.
Jordan Doyle.
Yeah.
I always thought that
Oh,
the
God.
Dr.
Okay,
Pepper
yeah.
sign was downtown because, like, was it from here? Was it made here? It's
I
like,
think-
no, people just love it so much.
Oh,
That,
I always thought it was.
yeah, that Dr. Pepper
Yeah.
was like, you guys love Dr. Pepper. You're going to get this sign in your city. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from New Jersey, but
Okay.
basically
Okay.
from here. I mean, my parents moved here when I was like 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
nice. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I didn't. Yeah. There is. That's funny that you say that because, like, I'm like, dude, a lot of people do like Dr.
Yeah.
Pepper here.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
found. I mean, I think that's the real story too. They found out like this is where they were getting like crazy sales for Dr.
Dang.
Pepper in this area, so they were like, "We're gonna have you put a Dr.
Here's a
Pepper
neon
sign."
sign.
Yeah. Yeah, here you guys go. You love Dr. Pepper.
You love it.
Yeah.
That is something that.
Yeah. I always thought the going downtown. What is it? The coffee pot.
HNC.
HNC?
Yeah.
I always thought that was the coffee pot.
Mm.
Oh
growing
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And then when we started to started to branch out, and like, I was old enough to go to the coffee pot. We showed up, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
This is the HNC coffee.
Yeah, I was like, well, I got stoked because I was like, "Oh, the building with the coffee pot." You know,
Right.
finally wanted to
Yeah.
see what it's like in there.
I kind of like as a child saw that and was always like, I want to drink that.
Yeah,
And definitely,
Yeah.
where
I
are you
wanna
gonna
go
get
up there.
fucking HNC coffee at?
Are the lights still working on that?
I don't know.
I haven't seen it at night in a while.
yeah.
But,
I'm gonna have to.
I mean, neon's expensive. I
Yeah,
think to
neon,
keep up
yeah.
with. So.
Yeah.
They're like, "Fuck that."
right.
It's just stupid.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, there I go. That's what. We're
There it
Yeah.
is. Okay,
Yeah.
there I go. I'm sorry. I was just thinking about Tyler in the bathroom. Once again.
So, there I go is funny because on here to this point, Ring is on that, and Ring is actually like, you know how Sing Dog was one of those songs that everybody wants to hear. Ring is that song that we currently play. Like that's the song everybody play Ring. Yeah. Oh, what's the one with the jungle beat?
Yeah.
That's what you always hear. Like, what's the one with the jungle beat? And we recorded and assumed that Ring we liked There I Go. We actually enjoy playing it and stuff. But we just assumed Ring would be the one for that on that album, and it didn't come out right on the album. It didn't record right. It was kind of weird when we played it live because of the reverb, and it was like throwing both Tyler and I off having the reverb over in the kitchen. It was like super hard. It's incredibly hard to do that song. I think I had to overdub the vocals because we just couldn't get it because of the way we were set up. Because the reverb off the guitar amps, by the time it reached me in the other room and Tyler in the other room, you know, it was half a note off
Yeah.
rather than being exactly on. So it just threw us way off. So Ring is kind of like dead on that album. It sounds fine, but it's not like the live version. And one of the first songs that Jeff actually mixed for us and sent to us to show us was There I Go. And There I Go on that album is like, it transformed the song because we both loved it before, but we started listening to it, the recorded version, and we were like, this shit fucking kills, dude. It came out so good on that album.
Everything that we had wanted
Was
leading
that
up to
album.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that song really captures.
It was perfect for, it's exactly what we wanted everything to sound like. And it's just such a good recording of that song that for me, that's the song of that album. And it's the last song on the album.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
I think you have
Oh, no, we do have that.
that little instrumental.
Right,
one.
that like, yeah, exactly. We do have that at the
Like
end.
that cowboy walk.
Right, yeah, that's the kind of, the concept for that is like being in the desert for that last song. But
Yeah. was really fun recording that, or getting to record that.
Yeah.
Taking cover.
Taking
Yeah.
cover.
I really like your version of it
Well,
that you did with There I Go. It was good.
I realized it could. I was like, if I tried to do like it, because I had a. I don't remember if because me and Jacob played. I think this was before you joined on bass, Ryan. Not this Ryan, the other Ryan. We played it live once, and I liked what he was doing on the drums. I'm like, oh, I could see. I thought about by the time I actually sat down to record that, I was like, I don't have time, or because I think his schedule was hectic. I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna sit down and record it. And I realized I couldn't quite get Tyler on the drums, so I'm just like, all right, well, see if I can do
your own thing with it.
Yeah.
No,
it sounded really cool. Yeah.
Honestly, though, when I played it the first time and it started playing, I was like, oh, yeah, dude. Like,
Take his own spin.
absolutely nothing close to what I was anticipating. I was like, this is perfect cover of There I Go. Because the thing is, we like it so much, like our expectations are high, and you just subverted everything. Yeah. You didn't do like a band setup. You did it very weird, very like Robin Hitchcock. Like, and I was like, yeah, dude, I dig it.
And I was like how? Yeah, I was. And actually, the funny thing was, I'm like, you know what? Let me try like 3-part harmonies. It didn't quite work, but I was just like, no, the I will say this though, Wes from Lucy cannot. He's like, Ryan did such a good. Dover did such a good job with. Was it Not Like This?
Oh yeah.
And it was. He was thoroughly. He's like, I love this so much.
I guess technically that's our most recent recording.
Yeah.
Kind of forgot about that.
We were glad because we didn't know. Like,
dude, I didn't know how we were going to do that.
And he's like, it's in this weird tuning. I'm like, I think Ryan just plays like standard.
I do. I don't ever change my tuning. Just standard. I was like, I'm listening to y'all play it, and I'm like, I don't know how to play any of this shit. Like, what the fuck? And then, so I'm like I'm trying to figure out in my head. I'm like fucking around on the guitar, and I figure out like a sort of standard way that it works. And Tyler and I are jamming, and he's like, it doesn't really sound the same. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I can't play it like they do.
No. But I was like thinking about it, and then once we were like, we should just speed it up.
Yeah.
Because that's like. It would just sound more like our way of doing it, and then you not like having like them having like the weird like Sonic Youth tuning how you said it was.
Exactly.
It's like, well, this is just Dover, dude. We're gonna do it how we.
That's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. It was like everybody just do what you can with what you got.
Yeah, we were nervous about it at first, and then once we finally like. Discovered how we were gonna play it. At that point, we were like, "Oh yeah, we got this, dude."
It's fun.
It was fun once we got it figured out.
Yeah, because it's kind of like made it kind of surfy. And...
Yeah.
Well,
I also like the breakdown at the end.
Well, when you played it live, I was just like, "Oh, this is." I liked it. It was. Wes will not shut up. Well, Wes will not shut up about it. No, he's like,
that's awesome.
But no, he really. It was a good cover, and
that's my favorite way of, I don't know, covers. Like if you just kind of do your own thing. I try not to recreate the exact thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, but yeah, it was fun covering you guys. I legitimately was like, I don't know how the hell I am going to do this.
Yeah, not even in a bad way too. I thought it was awesome that when we were talking about the Cape Fear, see, you were like, oh, I didn't even know that was from like, a movie. I was like, heck yeah.
Oh yeah, that was at the show. And then my brother was like, oh, I should have done. He did this. So he did like it's like, okay, I think I'm gonna do like a Christian Bale. My brother came in and did the and he did this Christian. It's like, okay, this is my impersonation of Christian Bale doing this, and I think that's the one I went with in the recording. But he did this one. It's like, this is my Nicolas Cage version, and it's like, I ain't no white trash piece of shit. It was golden.
It was your brother?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Which is wild. I thought it was you. You sound just alike.
Well, I remember watching your story or something with him doing it, and I was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh.
Yeah. So, but no, it was a lot of fun. So, yeah.
You can also get
I don't. Would you like one? We can.
I just got a little tickle in my throat. I was trying not to interrupt the.
No, I thought I saw you like down your
Yeah, we can edit. Yeah, I guess
no, dude, Dover does it live.
Okay. That is.
You gotta like keep your chewing in there too.
Well, you know, the bathroom, our bathroom scene. You know, it's just that's gonna go unedited. You know.
There you go.
Oh my god.
We're gonna have an OnlyFans, but it's just gonna be just a picture of just Tyler.
Yeah.
Just you know. But so is there any new music that you guys are planning on? I mean, I guess you guys have just recorded an album. What is your
like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is your how long does it take you guys to write an album typically? Or I guess that would be.
It's both of us.
Yeah.
It's kind of varied. So, technically, So, over COVID... I got a cough again. So, over COVID, yeah, exactly. We actually we didn't do any writing for like a very long period of time. The length of time that we've ever not written songs. Dude, I'm coughing like crazy. That sandwich was not good. I'm gonna do it again.
Don't worry about it.
So, we took a nice break over COVID, I guess. For me, it was a nice break of not really too much musical, interface going on in my brain or whatever. Yeah. But before that, we would literally write an album in less than a year, and then by the time we recorded that album and we're releasing it, we have a whole new set list of an album that we're already written and playing, and not even playing the old album. Yeah. And we did that consistently for several years in a row. So like,
so Neil Young did it too. I mean, like you legitimately, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it just kind of worked out that way. Like, we get bored, and we didn't want to record an album when everything was fresh, even though we would literally go into the recording studio with a song that we had written 2 weeks before that, and we just been playing hard for a while. But, so yeah, like, Cathode Ray should have been hardcore, and then Here to Disappoint were all written within like 2 years of each other and recorded in that time period. We currently have been writing again. And I think we have 5 or 6 new songs, something like that.
So we should expect to see a Dover album fairly soon.
Well, a lot of the songs aren't fleshed out, and we also have to figure out how and when we want to record it or what we want to do and things like that. And so there's a lot of steps to actually a finished album. So we haven't even finished recording the songs yet, or making the songs yet, and we'll probably be writing and cutting songs up until the album comes out, and then that's when it's like, well, that's the official version.
So this will have been the longest break since you guys have started making
music. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to drink?
I'll take it.
Okay.
It is still in there, dude. That cough is not going away. Yeah. There's like something in there. It's killing me. No, dude, I am invincible. Everybody else will just have to deal with it. What would you like? Just like a sparkling water or regular water, either is fine.
Field days. It's good.
I had the 2 cups.
Yeah, I remember. Is it cool to keep talking?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was fine. Thank you.
The break we took was it was really nice because I was like, everybody's just in a weird funk in their own way, and like I was like almost like kind of on the same page. I mean, he had a lot going on, like moving and just a lot of other stuff, and I was just kind of like, I didn't know if I wanted to write Eve. Like, I was just like, we had a comfy set. We could show up, practice, knock it out, and go on to other shit. So I was almost kind of nervous about writing it because I was like, dude, it's been a while. Like, I don't know how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But then, thankfully, I mean, a lot of these, like, newer batch of songs have just kind of came to us like any of the other ones, really.
Yeah.
So they're, like, some of my favorite ones. Like, including, like, There I Go. And just, even though it's kind of older now. But it's made its way still. It's keeping its spot.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so fun to play. Like,
do you guys change your set up? Well, I guess, do you guys change your set list live regularly, on a regular basis? Do you change your... Let me try that again. Do you change your set list on a regular basis?
So, what we used to do is we would have like 10 or 12 songs that were regularly practiced, and then would the day before or the day of the show, whatever, especially on tour, we would write a new set list every day, every show basically. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up not doing that anymore because it was kind of too sloppy. We wanted to be somewhat more sleek with the show, and it having to pause and be like, what's next? Kind of interrupted that flow. Mechanism.
Yeah.
Right.
You definitely don't want that too much.
Do what?
Like, you definitely don't want that stop and kind of looking at
right.
each other.
Yeah. So so for me, early Tyler Dover, my friend Carrick, the one that toured with us. Dude, I'm dying over here. I don't know what is going on. But Carrick had, one time he mentioned to me, he was like, I really like that you don't talk between your songs. And I just doubled down on that. Like, I was like, if we're like this mechanism of just no bullshit, we play songs and we're goofy and weird, but there's no like, this song's about my mom, that kind of thing. So being able to plan a set list beforehand and not doing it the day of made it so that we did that even less. There's less talking. The only thing we say usually is like, obviously we're Dover in the Elevators, we're here to disappoint, which is always been a staple. And then sometimes at the end I'll tell them, hey, I'll just say there's shit with our name on the back, on a table in the back, and that's all I'll say as a band usually. And now, so we do have set lists, especially over COVID. We played the same set to no one, obviously, while we were practicing for a solid year, And now that we started writing, what we do is if we write a song and we're happy with the song, we'll just take an old one out, stick the new one in, and we keep like the same frame that we've already gotten comfortable with, and then just swap out one, or maybe add one, or whatever, That's kind of how we do our set list now. And, it may happen, we may change the entire set list in 1 week, and it's like completely different with new songs, or we may play the same thing for 6 months, just kind of
it depends
on what we got going.
Yeah.
I actually wrote a new one this past Thursday at practice.
Yeah, practice is on Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Show up Thursday.
With your pens and papers.
How far back in your catalog do you guys go when you go to play shows now? Like, are you going back and playing things that were written like 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Never.
We haven't done that. I mean,
So what you're telling me is essentially, will there be a discography show where essentially Dover just goes back and plays?
That's so much work. I would have to sit back and actually relearn the songs, and that is not happening, dude. I'm too dumb.
I did bring up.
No, don't waste it. Don't.
Oh yeah.
There's a song that we have discussed potentially bringing back for fun, for special occasion or two, but we're not gonna like talk
Make it
about
a
the
thing.
song, yeah, and it's not going to be something that can be like regularly seen because it's more fun if it's like you may never hear this song from us again, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah,
kind of thing like that.
and that's I think that's kind of there was when we went down and played Charlotte. There's one song that we played. It's like, where can we find this? It's like right here and right now.
Yeah.
And that was a question I got. It's like, yeah, we just played it. It's not recorded. It's not, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you just have to do that. But yeah. So well, I think I don't really have anything else. I mean,
talking with you.
we can
we can
keep going, but
yeah.
Whatever. It's been fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it's really cool.
Fun goofing around, you know.
Learned a lot of things too. I will be checking out Hiva Hava.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. He's got some really cool YouTube videos of like old shows, old Mark shows, dude. Like,
dude, I don't think they have like anything
recorded, like on streaming. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, he's very
not that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah, just I mean, not that he's like.
You can find stuff on YouTube of like live shows.
Okay.
And that's your best bet, I guess.
Yeah.
They've been around for since the 90s, basically.
Yeah.
Early 2000s.
It's kind of funny. I was talking to Jamie, and she's like, catching up with her. This was probably pre-COVID, and they're talking about U2. It's like, it's kind of like. She described you guys as like, it's like, they're kind of like a new Hiva Hava. So
I'll
that
take
was
it.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'll take it.
it's kind of like a garage rock type of just raw, and then the energy is So,
but that's definitely a very good compliment for me. Anyway,
well.
Over in the elevator.
So thank you guys for coming in.
Guys.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank y'all for real.
Our pleasure.
I ain't no white trash piece of shit. I'm better than you all. I can outlearn you. I can outread you. I can outthink you. And I can outphilosophize you. And I'm gonna outlast you. You think a couple of whacks to my good old boy guts is gonna get me down? It's gonna take a hell of a lot more than that, counselor, to prove you're better than me.